Kundalini yoga is a yoga of self-consciousness. All right? And you have many, many yogas. We have many, many yogas. And what Tantra does, Tantra looms these yogas together towards self-development, towards developing higher states of consciousness. Okay? Now, in order to understand this type of yoga, we have to go back to the basics. Going back to the basics, we have to understand who we are, right? And how we came about. So, we have to realize that what makes us who we are and how do we function. We are, the real us is spirit. Spirit, right? Now, in the Hindu or the Buddhist, they look at this as Shiva. Now, Shiva, there's a lot of meanings for Shiva. We take the highest meaning. Shiva is the absolute. What is the absolute? God, right? So that's what we consider spirit to be, in the sense that spirit is a divine spark of God. Okay? A divine spark of God. So spirit actually comes from Shiva and is a part of Shiva. Okay? Shiva is the absolute, the all in all. God. Spirit, being that divine spark of God, is unmanifested. It's unmanifested. Because why? It is everything. It's a part of the whole. It has no beginning, no end. Okay? It is the same way God is. Because why? It's an aspect of God. Anything that manifests has what? It starts with what?
Beginning.
If it starts with, it has a beginning. It moves from 0 to 1 and then it continues, right? So therefore we can dictate that it has what? An end.
A limitation.
Yeah, and it's limited, right? If it starts here, then we should be able to calculate what the end is based on the contents of it, right? Or the substance of it. Spirit has no beginning, has no end. It is the life force, it is the power of everything. So therefore, it is unmanifested. So, what is manifested? The soul. Spirit manifests the soul. Right? Now, in all the ancient books, we hear whether it's the Vedas or the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita or the Torah or the Holy Bible, we hear that God spoke the word, right? And the word was God, and crazy came about, and all of this. Well, in the ancient books, it's the same thing, but they give us more detail. They say that Shiva, or the absolute, the supreme life force, with endless potential, with this endless potential, released a sound vibration. In other words, it spoke the word. And they describe it as Vak, the first spoken word, right? Which is an energy or sound vibration described throughout the universe as Nata, right? They describe it as a sound vibration, right? Now this sound vibration creates what they call modes of motion, right? Modes of motion. Now these modes of motion carries with it a particular signature. And those signatures are described on many different levels. Okay? You have a cosmic level of those signatures, right? And then we have seen a solar level of those signatures, and we've seen a planetary level. Right? Anybody know what a cosmic level is?
Cosmic level for what?
These modes of motion.
The Mahabhuta.
Right. The cosmic level is the Mahabhutas. Everybody heard of the Mahabhutas? Do I have it up there?
Yeah.
The Mahabhutas, right? Which is Akasa, Vaya, Tejas, Aspas, and Paritis, right? And those Mahabhutas are the modes of motion, the signatures of the modes of motion that make possible space, Akasa, right? And it's the carrying agent, this space that's created, this manifestation of space, which is the universe. It makes possible the universe, right? Then you have Vayu, which creates motion and speed, which on the planetary level we see that as air. Okay. Then you have Tejas, which is light, which is the manifestation of light within the space. You have motion, then you have light, and it also helps create fire, right? Then you have Apas, right? Apas is the thing that brings about, it's within the space, it helps bring about form. It takes the form of anything that it inhabits, right? That's why the seat of consciousness is always attributed to Apas, which is water on the planetary level. Because why? You know, our body is what? Water. 70% water. Okay. Then you have Aritis, which is the modes of motion that brings about, that has the signatures of what? Earth. Or gross solids. So what it does, it takes all these other, and it conforms it into a gross substance.
So it binds all of them?
It binds everything together. It contracts everything together. Right? Because what happens with the space or etheric sound, a casa can be considered. A casa has sound, right? It has space, right? And light, and it has not light necessarily. It has pressure.
Some akasha?
Akasha, yeah. And what it does, it becomes the carrying agent for everything. It carries everything. It carries all the bhutas. Because why? It creates the space in which it travels.
Question. By creating the space for it, is it also creating the time for it?
In a sense, because time is brought about through the combination of all of this, right?
But wouldn't time be initiated at the second principle?
Well,
by you, because that's motion.
It makes that possible. It makes motion possible. Motion cannot happen if it doesn't have space to move. All right, so it makes huh? Oh, it's in there. It's on the side. It makes it possible. So it is the carrying agent. In most of the books, in most of the metaphysical books on this subject, they will talk about a casa as that being that creates form.
But time in this sense is just a byproduct of all those, because in essence you're just measuring motion against space.
Yeah, because you cannot have motion without having a casa.
Right.
You cannot have light or form or gross form without having a casa. A casa is the carrying agent. A casa speaks the sound as though, and what you're going to notice, there's a signature. When God spoke, right? It created creation. It brought about manifestation. Well, all the different principles, when the manifestation, well, Nata, which is a part of Shakti, we haven't got to that yet. Nata is the sound. Nata is actually Shakti. It's released. This Shiva releases the Shakti power, right? But the first Shakti power that's released is actually Nata. So and then Nata moves forward, and Nata moves forward and manifests this thing called Shakti. So Shakti, what am I saying? Then Shakti moves forward and brings about the karmic principles, which is the Shakti, which forms the Shakti power, which is the mind, prana, and nani, and the love, right? Which is the restriction that the Mahabhutas move forward and produce.
Right. So then time in essence begins with Nata, with the first
Nata,
the first spoken word.
Yes, with Nata, because it starts manifestation.
Oh, also your colors, are those color matched purposely?
Yeah, these colors are the colors of the particular chakra that it belongs to.
So when you have blue for Akasa, does that line up with the Adana? Since Adana permeates the entire body?
It lines up with the throat center.
So what's fire? What's the fire?
Sata.
What's the fire prana?
Huh?
Which one is fire?
The solar plexus, TJs.
And then is it samana in the body?
Huh? Yeah, it's samana in the body.
So yellow for yellow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of these, this is the throat center. Well, let's go here. This is the base, the sex, the solar plexus, the heart, and the throat. And it goes all the way down like that. Except for here, if I reverse it.
Okay.
But just to show you that a sound is released and the Mahabhutas come about. A sound is released again and the 5 major pranas come about through the sun. Okay? The sun releases sound and the sound hits the moon and comes back to the earth. And you have the major pranas, and you have also the Tavics. Because what happens, the earth releases, the sun produces this thing called nata as well. It produces nata too. It makes a sound. And this sound releases this all-pervasive prana that we talk about, right? And within the natas that's being released from the sun is also modified bhutas and the cosmic prana and all as well. What you have is the Mahabhutas comes through the sun, the prana comes through the sun, and you have Tavic rays that come through the sun as well. And it is released back it's modified by the sun and released to the earth, and that's the thing that the soul uses to build the bodies of man. Okay? So what do you have? You have the bhutas, the Mahabhutas,
Which is cosmic prana.
which is a cosmic type prana, right?
Is that what the Lords of Creation use?
Huh?
The Lords of Creation use the Mahabhutas?
Yeah. Well, let's not go there.
Okay.
Which is a cosmic level of prana. All right. Then you have the what did I say that?
And then it's conditioned by the sun.
Yeah, it's conditioned by the sun. I want to say these things right. Then you have a universal mind substance, right?
Oh, you didn't put the name.
You have a universal mind substance. This also comes in through the sun.
Would that be sit?
Yeah, it can be sit. Then you have the, what else I have there?
You have something with prana written on it.
Oh, the Shakti/prana.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't talk much about prana, but Shakti. Shakti, you in the Hindu and the Buddhist books, you have Shiva, which, to make it simple for most people, which is really wrong, the way they announce it. But when you get deep into the mystic part of these teachings, you understand why they did it. They call this the male aspect of life, and they call Shakti the female. Okay, which is negative and positive. Now, that's the esoteric, the exoteric teachings. The esoteric teachings is that Shiva is positive, negative, and positive, negative, and negative, positive. Okay? Shiva is all in all, right? And is neither. Okay? So this is the mystic teachings. And of course, the Shakti power is negative, but it's also positive, and it's also negative, positive, and it's also neither. Okay? All right, so understand that. Because as you move forward to try to understand these teachings, you'll see that this is so. Now, you have these three major, I'm focusing in on these three major cosmic levels of this power that comes through the sun, right? It comes through the sun, and then it's modified by the sun. And when it's modified by the sun, it's released from the sun every 32 minutes. A release is done by the sun. And this modified Tavic rays, Mahabhutas, and Pranas is beamed towards the planets of the solar system. Particularly what we're worrying about is Earth. This is ancient teachings. These teachings go back thousands upon thousands of years. Okay? Now, a part of those Tavic rays or sonic rays are bounced off the moon and reflected back to the earth. Now, the ancients said that this is done in order to help create the mental worlds. Okay? The Tavic rays that bounce off the moon and comes to the earth, what it does, it creates the mental worlds for man. Now, when we begin to study the chart, the chakras, we see that this is so. Let's go back. The Tavic rays. The Tavic rays are 360 rays that lines up probably with the 360 degrees of the earth and probably the 360 some days of the year. And what it does, what it does, it helps the soul to create, or this planet to create all the mental and physical levels of this earth. We're told that when the Mahabhutas come in, the Akasa blankets the earth, creates this blue thing, and when we look up in the sky, we see the blue sky. It creates this barrier, which allows all the other Akasas, Akasas or Mahabhutas to formulate and take shape and build the environment that we need to build karmically. All right?
So does that Akasha condition
It
everything
conditions.
else even more?
Yeah, it conditions it because it's under the direction and the modification of the sun.
So at what point does the earth modify the Akasha?
The earth does it too, because this is how we're going to get to it. The Tavic rays, you have 360 Tavic rays. A total of 118 Tavic rays are modified. You put 62 and 56 together, they're modified by the earth, right? Then you have 106 Tavic rays that's modified by the sun and directly and comes directly to us, right? Then you have the rest, which is around 130 something, which is modified by the moon, which creates our mental planes. Now, how does this line up? On the chakra, on the chakras, the first two chakras is Tavic rays that's modified by the earth. And our consciousness reside, when we study all the teachings of the chakra teachings and the Tantra teachings, they tell us that self-consciousness start at the base of the spine, and our consciousness, our waking consciousness resides at the sex center. And because why? Because we live on this gross physical plane of existence, and it's reflected in all our inventions around us. Everything we have has a female, male component to it. The receptacles in the wall, you have a male plug and you have a female receptacle. Everything, the key, a car, the engine, is always balanced with this positive and negative thing. And when you bring them together, you have motion, you have action, you have movement. Same way our bodies are put together, okay? You cannot have motion, coordinated and directed motion without bringing male and female together. It's impossible, you know. So, and because it's just like if you build a house and you don't ground that house, what happens to it? Anybody know?
Falls over.
Huh?
Does it fall over?
No, everything shorts out.
Everything shorts out. The electricity cannot flow. Not one electrical plug, switch, nothing will work in the house. So we have to take an iron rod and hit it 9 to 12 feet down into the ground and stick a copper core there to ground the house in order to create in order for the electricity to flow properly in the building. That's the way it's done. So this ancient science that's 90,000 years old tells us these things, okay? So the sun, with the sun you have the solar plexus center and the heart center, which makes sense because when you look at the solar plexus center, what does it govern? Anyone know?
Digestion.
Digestion. Transference of what?
Energy.
Huh?
Of food into energy.
Of energy. It transfers energy, right? Because you cannot have nutrition without the substance being broken down, right? And pushed out into the body. And the same thing with Vaya or air, right? The heart chakra, right? It creates motion in the body, the circulatory system, right? Because as you breathe in and out, right, you flood the body with oxygen, right? And you remove the toxic waste through the lungs, right, which is carbon dioxide. So it makes sense. This is the life substance of, you know, of the bodies, of all the bodies. Then when you go to the moon, which is the Tavic rays, right, it takes care of the mental stuff, right? It transfers the mental thoughts in your head. It brings it out through what? The throat. It allows you to speak. It takes all your mental thoughts and condense it down to the limited speech that we have so that you can communicate out to the world. Yeah.
So you said all 360 rays come from the sun to the earth already.
Yeah.
But you said 106 of them are conditioned by the sun. Is that prior, so it's 106 out of the 360 are conditioned by the sun already by the time they get to Earth?
All the rays are conditioned by the sun. But over half of them, 2/3 of them are conditioned by the Earth and the moon before they come to us. Only 106
Or directly from the
are
sun.
directly from the sun that reaches us. The other 2/3 is modified by the moon and the sun. The moon and the Earth before they reach our chakra system.
Now, is that the modifications by the Earth and the moon? Is that because we're not able to modify it ourselves?
Right.
So that's a limitation on us?
It's a limitation on us. And we'll get to that. I don't want to confuse some of the people that's here that don't know about this. Is modified by the Earth and the moon because we can't do that modification ourselves because of the karmic position that we have placed ourselves in. All right?
Question.
Mhm.
So, I mean, like, it seems that we can't really live anywhere else at this time karmically.
Karmically, yeah, we're at the right place where we're at now.
So we can't really pretend that we can travel in space and live in other planets.
I mean, we can go there, whether we survive or not would be a different thing. You know, I mean, if our karmic pattern allow us to develop a spaceship to move out there and go, that it's still going to be, it's just going to be another set of limitations placed on us. You know, by them having to create this artificial environment. Probably 70, 100 years into it, they will see a depletion of certain minerals within the body that that will limit their life. They'll probably cut their life by 2/3 or half or whatever, if they don't belong there. All right. So that's this is the, and before I go, okay, the mental world is created. You have sound, and then you have mind. All right, you have the ability to purify mental thoughts or filter mental thoughts so that they can be heard on the physical realm at the throat center, and then here at the Christ center or the Andra chakra. You have the command center that governs all the other chakras. All right? Yeah.
Yeah, but Akasa, you say Akasa has three things. Now I know it has space and sound, because that comes with the first word. But why did you include pressure?
Because it is a pressure. Because if you look at space, what is space?
Space is limited. It defines something.
It
That's like a
defines
fixed point.
something. It places pressure on Shakti.
Okay.
Right? It helps to mold Shakti, the Shakti power, into all the other Mahabhutas. It creates the signatures. In other words, it creates the environment to allow activity to happen. Okay? That's what Akasa does. Okay? You understand now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. That's what it does. Remember the square? The karmic pressure?
So it's by default.
Huh? Yeah. So that's all of this. I say all of this to say that this is what the soul, this is the power, the energy that the soul has to work with. Now we have to go back to the soul. See, so this is called the it's the bodiless consciousness. Because at this point the soul is without a body.
At what point?
At the point of its manifestation.
Oh, okay.
It's without a body. So it have to gather all of this and it have to gather all of this from here in order to build this. Okay?
Yeah, but all the conditioning by the planetary bodies, you said that all of that conditioning is just to get to the point of the soul.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that the soul can use that energy.
Okay.
All right. Now you got to understand these are individuals too.
Right.
The planet, the sun, the sun is a living, breathing entity. The earth is a living, breathing entity, and the moon is a living, breathing entity as well. You got to understand this. But they are part of the creative whole. In other words, they are creators. You know, they're great cosmic beings or masters. They have moved on eons before us, and they have reached to the level that now they are part of the whole creation process. All right. So you have the soul that comes into play, and now it uses the creative energy or the modified energy of these great beings in order to build the bodies for man. In order to build the bodies for man, or for anything, really. So what you have here, you have the soul that fashions this Shakti power into what it needs it to be. So the soul finds this thing called the sushumna, or the Brahman line of force, which is a realm of existence. It's a realm of existence where the Shakti power is complete and is stable and is balanced. In other words, the holy books say it is whole. All right? And it takes this Shakti power and it pushes it down sushumna, right? Which is a state of consciousness. And it brings it to the base of the spine chakra, Muladhara chakra. Okay, now, in order to understand this, you got to understand, you have to throw out all the old information that you had and understand that a chakra, right? We have these chakras, but what is these chakras? These chakras are vortex centers of consciousness. They are realms of existence. They are levels of consciousness. Okay? All the chakras represent one of the realms, one of the major realms of existence on Earth. Okay? That's what they represent. So the soul must go through all the chakras in order to bring about the state of consciousness that will produce this thing on Earth. I mean, this thing that we're living right now on Earth, in order to bring about the condition that it needs to produce this thing that we're living right now, which is between the base and the sex chakra. So remember that the chakras are planes of realms of existence. That's what they are. And when you study this, you will see they always refer to the chakras as what? Anyone remember? What Sanskrit word they use? Loka, right?
Oh yeah, that's center.
Center, right? Which represents realms. Which represents realms of existence. Right? So you always will find that. And then they will always suggest In fact, I gave you all a chart. I don't know if I have it here. Anyone have a chart?
Which one?
That describe all the related topics to each chakra. It's online too. You know what I'm talking about? The Excel chart?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have that.
So, and what it does, it describes all of those, all the related energies and realms of existence with each chakra. So what it does, it brings this Shakti power through from the crown chakra through the Christ chakra all the way down to the base of the spine. When it gets to the base of the spine, the right pressure is there at the base of the spine. You have the right conditioning at the base of the spine. So at that point, all conditions are right. And when all the conditions are right, then this Shakti power moves from a hold position to what they call a not hold position. And that not hold position splits the Shakti power and builds or produce what is called the Pingala Natis and the Ida Natis. And when it produced the Pingala Natis and the Ida Natis, the consciousness is split. And the equilibrium is no longer. So what happens, the Natis look to find that level of equilibrium again. And it goes to the sex chakra. And it filters itself through the sex chakra. And they cannot find that equilibrium. They just find part of it. It goes to the solar plexus chakra, to the heart chakra, to the throat chakra, and when it passes the throat chakra, it finds it finds that the next chakra will be the place where it can express itself as one again. But it's really not. Because why? Because at the Christ chakra brings about the equilibrium, but it brings about the equilibrium through what? Through sight, hearing, smelling, and taste, and feeling. And that's where that's where it terminates its travel. So the Nadi system is the thing that splits man's consciousness up across all the chakras. And the Christ center become the command center. And the throat center become that center that filters the chakras in order to enter that command center. All right? And then you have the basic man. Then you have the basic man. Now when it went through all of this, it created all the bodies. It went from the spirit to the soul to the Kundalini, the Natis. It went through all the chakras, and when it went through there, it produced the auric bodies, the mental bodies, the etheric bodies, the flow of prana, and the subtle bodies, and the astral bodies, and then the physical body.
Now I know that that's for our visualization, but in reality, the chakras were really already there.
Yeah. I mean, I
bodies
said
are just finding its way to those points.
it didn't create. I didn't say it created the chakra. Because remember, the soul pushed the Shakti power through sushumna,
Which already have the chakras on.
which is the chakras. And then when the nadis formed, it went to the chakras doing what? To try to find its equilibrium, because the chakras are what? They are realms of existence. They are levels of consciousness. Yeah.
What causes the consciousness to split? Why aren't we whole?
Because at the level of the Muladhara, right? Oh shoot. You know about the Muladhara chakra, right?
No,
That's
this
the
is my first
base, the
class.
base of the spine.
The base of the spine chakra.
Okay.
And here is the pressure. There's a karmic pressure there that will not allow the Shakti power to stay complete, to stay whole as one whole stream of consciousness. The pressures there are such that it cannot stay in this state of all awareness. All right, because when the soul formed this Shakti power, it was whole and it had a state of all awareness. In other words, if you were in that state of consciousness of the soul at that level, you would, the same way you perceive everything in this room, you will perceive everything in the whole state of Florida, all at once,
Or in the universe.
or in the universe. Well, or let's say, well, on this earth, at least the whole earth, right, and the solar system. Now, but because of the activity that goes on here at this level, the karmic pressures will not allow that awareness because of the state of being of man itself. Okay. Now, in the holy books, they talk about samsara, right? And samsara is, they call it the samsara wheel, right? And what is that? It is that level that this energy exists, which is the energy of Maya. You heard of Maya? Or Maya? They call it Maya or Maya? Maya, okay, which is illusion, right? This is the wheel of rebirth. It is at this level that the consciousness is split up and it have to go through many, many, many lives of rebirth in order to be brought back together, okay? Because it is, in fact, if we did this class, a long class, we would talk more about the fact that when the consciousness is split up, right, you go through, which I'll get to later, but I'll show you just so you can understand. Maybe it'll help you understand. In the body, you have many chakras. You have the lower chakras here, right? And these are the animalistic chakras. And they are the realms of consciousness where the animals or barbaric type self-conscious individuals exist, right? So at this point, the Muladhara, the base of the spine chakra, that's the point of self-consciousness for basic man. It's also the point of self-consciousness for the animal. So when the animals go through all their reincarnations, that's their crown chakra. The way we look at our crown chakra or our Christ chakra as the way we look at Christ or Buddha or whatever, the animals look at this as their Christ or crown chakra so that they can become human. Because once you become human, you can't go back and be an animal. It's an arm of progress. All right. So after many, many reincarnations, you move forward and become self-consciousness, and then you try to expand your consciousness to become Christ-like, Buddha-like, or Krishna-like.
So is the act of trying to place such a severe limitation on the Shakti power that is using Kundalini as a vehicle of consciousness, is the act of trying to create such a severe pressure the actual thing itself that causes the split? Because like I'm looking at your bottle of water on the table. So let's just say that full bottle of water is Kundalini, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as it's descending further and further down, it's filling up that water bottle. Now you get to the top, you cover it, and you freeze it.
Yeah.
Now we know when you freeze any liquid, it expands.
Mm-hmm.
So if I freeze that bottle, it's gonna burst the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that essentially what's happening? The act of you trying to place such severe limitation,
Right.
it's just gonna, since you can't contain it, it's gonna have to be split up.
Yes, it has to be split up. And then that's which I want to get to the next class, but that's what creates the 242 what?
Nadi pathways.
Nadi pathways. All
It's an
right?
explosion of Kundalini. I feel.
242,000.
Yes, it's an explosion.
Yeah, 240,000, 240K, I told them, right? 240,000 Nadi pathways. Because what happens is that those nadis, when they split up, the positive and negative nadis, which is Pingala and Ita, they split up and they create these 242,000 pathways of consciousness that go in and out of the chakras, right? Until it singles down, it branches up and single down and produce and go to the command center, which is the Christ center, and produce this thing called sensory perception to allow us to communicate and perceive things on all realms of existence. You know, through our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our ears.
So when our energy, when we die, our physical bodies die, or we transform that energy, are we ever going to become whole? Or is
No.
When
When the physical
always
body-
be this state of having to balance?
When the physical body dies, you enter the astral body. In fact, every night you go to sleep, this astral body, or one aspect of this astral body, projects from your body and go out and repeat those things that you like doing. Sleep is a state of projection. You're only moving a part of your active consciousness out of your physical body. Now, when you die, your physical body dies. Eventually, your astral body dies, right? And you live within the auric, mental, and etheric, and subtle prana bodies on the other side, which whether it be heaven or hell. There's many heavens, there's many hells, right? You exist there, okay? So, and then you exist there for a time. Gathering is no punishment. It's just what you created for yourself. It's the lessons that you created to learn, and you learn lessons there, and then you're reborn into the body of a baby again, and you go through a whole nother life. You die, you go to the other side.
But with some higher level of awareness.
With some higher level of awareness each time, hopefully, unless some type of SS man, or some soldier or somebody who's just killing. You're not, what you're gonna learn. You're gonna create pressure and pain for yourself to push you towards conforming to the law, because we know from mathematics, if I take a negative number and multiply it by another negative number, it equals what?
Positive.
It equals a positive nil. Mathematics tell us that. So you continue to do something negative, eventually you're going to have to conform yourself to the law and do something right. So that's why the whole notion of going to hell forever is ridiculous, because it doesn't work out nowhere on no realm of existence. So, you know, there's always a positive outcome. All right? So you keep moving forward until you become a Jesus or Buddha or whatever.
And those people represent a whole. They represent someone who's mastered that, taking that energy and made it whole again.
Yeah, they took that energy and they have consolidated that energy at one level of the chakra, making it whole again. Yeah, go ahead.
Annalise asks, does a part of us exist on every level of consciousness, or do we have to unlock those chakras before we can exist in those states?
A part of us exists on every level of consciousness. And when we unlock these chakras, we get access to that part of the consciousness. If you can imagine, you have, well, we talk about you have more than three, but we talk about three major states of consciousness. We talk about the superconsciousness, which is on every level, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about the subconscious, right? Which is obvious where the subconscious is, right? The subconscious, the main activity of the subconscious is the base, sex, solar, and heart, right? But it's located, it's centrally located in the base and the sex center, right? And that takes care of functions, right? Then we have the conscious mind, which is, it starts here and resides at the sex center. And the conscious mind is what we're using to communicate with right now. But behind all of that is the superconscious mind, which exists on all the chakras. Yeah.
So the whole idea of perception.
Even Jesus had to take these two energies and place them in sushumna in order to produce the miracles that he produced.
At that point, is he not using the senses in this dual way?
What you mean, the senses?
You know, like the, two eyes, two ears.
Of course he is. Of course he is. Because remember, when you know, I like to say that if you take the physical senses, right? The physical senses and the astral senses, and I taught you all this before, right?
Yeah,
what does it produce?
Yeah, psychic.
It produces psychic senses, right? Everybody get it? Huh?
Yeah.
Did I lose you? It produces psychic senses. Now, if you take the psychic senses, once you produce the psychic senses, and you match it with what? The etheric senses, you have what?
Advanced psychic.
You have advanced psychic senses, right? But in order to do this, you have to bring together what? Ida and Pingala. And you have to stabilize that Ida and Pingala in order to produce what? A streamline of consciousness, right? Through the nadis. Through the primary nadis. Yeah.
Ivan is asking, what is the difference between involution into animals and the splitting up of consciousness caused by negative karma?
Involution to what?
Involution into animals.
That's two different things.
Involution to animals and what?
And splitting up of consciousness from negative karma.
That's two different things.
Yeah, it is two different things. What do you mean, what's the difference? I don't understand.
Like, for example, if you take, you go to battle with a black musician and you know, you defeat him by splitting his consciousness up. That consciousness, if you split it up, say 100 times, that consciousness is 100 new people that are born.
That's what he's talking about?
Not a mixture of animal and man, because you still can't go back to that animal state.
No, you don't go back to the animal state.
You're just a much weaker man, and you know you'll never be combined again to be what you were before. It's all that evil.
In other words, you move from the animal state to the self-conscious state.
Mhm.
All right. So when you get to the self-conscious state, you cannot be split back up to animal. If that's what he's talking about, you can't. Your consciousness can't. I mean, you could be an idiot, you know, but you cannot be an animal because you still have self-consciousness.
Also,
There's a karmic limitation that stops. There's a karmic law that doesn't allow us to go back to, you know, to an animal.
and not all life streams are forced to make the same journey.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the most important
Because
thing.
another thing, like let's say if some of us had to go through an animal stage, that doesn't mean every last one of us lived as a dog. That doesn't mean that. We may have skipped certain species because of our forward movement. In other words, so everyone can't say that we lived as a dog or a monkey or whatever and then became human. No.
What if a person is operating mostly from one of the lower chakras, below the base?
Well, they
They
can't. I mean, they do, but they
there are some people
can't.
who mostly are so animalistic in their behavior and thought.
The animalistic in the behavior, but the animalistic is
At the base.
at the base. Remember, the base contains the higher chakras and the lower chakras. Is the equilibrium point of consciousness. So remember that. You know, and it shows itself because why? Because when we're born on this physical plane, when we come here, what do we find?
What do you mean?
When we come here on the physical plane, when we're born on the physical plane, we find all species. So it's that equilibrium point of all consciousness. When we come to this gross physical plane, we see the birds in the sky, the fish, we see the mammals that run on land, and we see humans.
Oh, man is able to see all the
Yeah.
manifestations
We
of
see
all
all
life.
the manifestations of consciousness. Remember, a fly is a level of consciousness. A bird is a level of consciousness. The animals is a level of consciousness. Okay, man is a level of consciousness. We see all those levels of consciousness at the base chakra.
But man is the only one that is able to see all.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. The animal see, you know, they see it too, but they just see it on their level of perception.
Can they distinguish though and identify the difference between them and everything else that we can?
Not necessarily, because they don't have a level of self-consciousness. But they see a goal to get to, the same way they see the food to get to. You know, because that's what motivates them. The thing that drives and motivates them is to sustain their physical vehicle.
And reproduce.
And reproduce, yeah. Because they see that as sustaining their physical vehicle. Because their newborn is just an extension of them. You know, and that's the only reason why they protect it. If they didn't see that, then they wouldn't protect it. You know, when they smell their newborn, they smell themselves. You know, the same way they link their masters or their master's friends to themselves. They see it as an extension of themselves. Because why? Because they know that master will feed them, will take care of them. You know, so there's a difference from self-consciousness than this instinctive type consciousness that the animals have. So that's what he's talking about. No, you cannot. When you split up a person's consciousness, there's a level that you can go to. That's why you find that that someone who have advanced themselves to a certain degree can be split up into 4,000 parts, and someone who haven't advanced, they can only be split up in 400 parts.
Yeah, but so it has nothing to do with how evil you are, because
Yeah. It's the level of intelligence.
it's just how far advanced that soul was, not necessarily how good or bad the soul was.
Yeah, yeah, it's the level of intelligence.
Okay.
So, did I lose anybody? Alright, so this is, this is what these are all the bodies of all the major bodies of man. Alright, is layered and compressed into this one frame. Yeah.
Alright, so the soul starts out at the realm of the crown.
Mm-hmm.
And does it build a body there, or does it keep going until, like, when does the first orc body begin?
At the base of the spine.
The first auric body?
Yeah. Or when does the first body of the soul begin?
When the first auric body of the soul is I would say,
Base of the spine.
no, it's not the base of the spine. It creates the first auric body with the pressures of karma.
Okay.
The pressures of karma that when it molds and shapes karma into a particular shape in order to enter the realm of sushumna. And I think they call that the causa body. Right?
That's what I heard the song called.
The Anabasan, they call it the causa body. Alright? And then,
But that auric body is still just, it's like right next to the soul. I mean, that's not really.
yeah. But it's still a body. It's still a body. But in fact, Anabasan only interpreted that from the
Secret doctrine.
it was not only secret doctrines, but it was the Vedas and the Upanishads, because they speak about it. I can't remember the Sanskrit terminology for it, but that's what they were interpreting. So when the soul makes the mental or the action to mold this Shakti power and push it down Sushumna, there's an auric body or causal body that starts at that point.
But that's the body that's the body that we carry for us.
For eons.
Forever.
And they call it the unit, the auric unit. And they call it the auric unit inside the Theosophical teachings. I think Dr. King called it the auric body. Okay?
So Sushumna is like a bridge connecting all the realms, in a sense?
Yeah. It's where it is the bridge. It's the sutra.
And the soul pushes Shakti down that bridge through each realm, and as it goes, it constructs a body relevant to that realm?
No, it reaches, it have to reach, the soul brings it here. And then when the Kundalini goes into the state, when the Shakti power goes into the state called Kundalini, then Kundalini releases a sound. And when it releases a sound, that's when the nadis go out.
The sound is the nadis.
Yeah, the sound is the nadis in a sense. But the first sound, and as it goes to each level, it does something. It creates the motion. It brings about the signature motions of all of the pranas, the Mahabhutas, and the Tavic rays.
Now each chakra, as it stops at each chakra, it deposits a part of itself as it goes down.
As it goes down.
Right now.
As it goes down, it not only deposits, but it takes a part
Of what was there.
Right,
and
it picks up the signatures of those chakras.
Right, and at each stage or each descent, you have Go back to your first picture.
You can look at it from here. What? Each descent you have what?
Well, at each descent, you still have this all knowledge space.
Yeah.
Right, and then so at each descent, it stops. It's like basically looking at through this door, it leaves a part of itself, takes something else, and goes further down.
In other words, this right here. And I did this for you all before. You have, let's say you have the crown chakra, right? This is the, let's say this is that first body of the soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does the soul do? It
That's
created this pressure.
That's like the akasa.
Yeah, this is and what it does, it takes the Shakti power and push it down within the body that it created.
From the crown, which all
which is
The spark.
which is the soul, which is the manifested part of the soul, right? And it pushes the energy, the sushumna. It finds the sushumna within itself, and it pushes this energy down in this direction, right? Until it finds all the chakras, all the major points, vortex points, right? Which we only talk about these 6 major points, right? When it's going through sushumna, when it's going through this involution process, right? We call this an involution process, right? When it's going through this involution process, it identifies those 6 major chakras below the crown chakra, right? And at that point, it finds that equilibrium point to split up to bring about the full impact of involution, right? And then it begins to come back up, and that's when it goes through the 42,000 nadi pathways, right? But at that point, in going through the 42,000 nadi pathways, it links up with 108 chakras within the body. Okay? It does the same thing with 108 chakras in the body.
So the key though is when you say it finds the sushumna within itself.
Yeah.
Now
within the auric field that it has created.
Right, and that auric field, like if akasa is a carrier wave, and it's always the thing that reaches first, it's always the thing that envelops and like sets the initial limitation.
That's what it's doing with the power of akasa.
But then that will explain why an avatar will go through the same process, but the difference between an avatar is that initial first body, which sets a limitation for everything that happens after that point.
It takes it and put it where? What does the avatar does with that?
With what?
Pulls in.
Huh?
It pulls in its orb.
It pulls it back into it.
No, I'm talking about say somebody from like the same process of creating a body is the same.
Yeah. But the avatar on Earth, when he raises Kundalini up to the highest point and he becomes an avatar, what do he do with the auric field at that point?
Yeah, everything is
He
placed on
absorbs it back
into that first body.
Yeah, into that first body, so that what? It gives him unlimited power. Because this is the process of splitting the power up. Our auric field does what? It pollutes
The atmosphere.
and it creates the atmosphere. So when you become a karmic lord, that avatar, you predict your every movement. So therefore, you don't pollute the earth like that. You use all the energy in the necessary fashion and manner.
So can we say that first body is the akasha for the soul?
Well, it's the causal body. It's the thing that does what? It bring about
The limitation.
Yeah. But it takes on the same motion that Akasa does when it blankets the Earth. Right?
Or a solar system.
That's the solar system. Well, we're talking about the Earth. It creates that blue limitation, that maya, you know. Yeah.
What is the relationship between the Akasha and the so-called Akashic records?
Well, there's no real relationship except for it records space and time.
I think it's a misnomer.
What, Akasha?
The Akashic records, I think it's a misnomer.
Yeah, it's not. That's just the signature pathways that's left behind, in other words.
But it has no real bearing to true Akasha.
No, I don't think so. In fact, in your psychic vision, you'll notice, is someone standing somewhere for a long period of time? Or let's say, especially at either football games or baseball games, right? When a batter get up to hit and a pitcher, if you can look psychically, you'll see this. They hit the ball or the pitcher pitch, and if you look at them psychically, when they move away from the spot that they was at, they leave a strong imprint of themselves there. You'll still see them standing right there as they move to run.
As they move to run around the bases?
Yeah, their body, they leave a strong mental and psychic impression of themselves when they were swinging that bat.
Like a home run.
Huh? Like a home run.
And you'll still see
You'll still see them there. Because why?
They were concentrating.
That's
the level of concentration.
Because the level of concentration and the expertise they have in doing what they do. So that becomes an imprint on the Akashic records. And for all times forward, if a psychic go there to try to enhance, try to feel what was there before, their image will probably show up quicker because of the strong impression they left. It's just like the pitcher too, who's intense in trying to get them out. And you can physically see, almost physically see it. That's the way I experience it. You physically see them, say, wait a minute, because then you see two of them, and it kind of knocks you out. But you'll see that about that. So with everything in life, it's there.
So in this sense, the Akashic record just means the impression or the imprints made on space.
On space. On space. Yeah.
So what is it that mandates the soul push Shakti all the way down to the base of the spine for us? Is it karma?
It's the same thing for all things.
It's the
process of evolution.
It's a process of evolution. It's the directives from the spirit or the absolute to bring about
manifestation,
evolution or manifestation.
But I ask because the Adamic man, it stopped at the heart, or our base of the spine used to, not base of the spine, but our seat used to be at the heart.
It's still the same process though.
But why?
Because we have advanced to that.
Huh?
But it makes no difference.
They had no reason to take it to the base of the spine. Because the base of the spine was the heart chakra.
But more important than how low it goes is the process is the same.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to find sushumna within yourself.
That's right.
And slow it down to some point, some equilibrium point where manifestation comes about for your karmic pattern at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, for like Adamic, it would still go all the way down, but then come back up and rest at the heart.
It'll go down to his heart center.
I would to the heart center, yeah.
But it's still the same process of being forced down this single channel until it comes to a point of rest, a point of equilibrium.
And you missing the point. I know you anxious to understand that, but if you remember, you had the root race, right?
Right.
And you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And I think it was 1 and 2 was what?
The myriad.
No, not it was before the marriage.
Adamic.
Adamic, right? But they had what? Do you remember?
You mean for the auric structures?
Yeah.
They were ovoid, basically.
Well, no, but I'm saying, do you remember what it was what? Who watched the movie Airbender?
Well, I've seen it.
You seen it?
Mm-hmm.
They got that from the secret doctrines. From the Buddhist secret doctrines, the Manvalansky translated,
Mm-hmm.
right? They wrote fire and air. Okay?
Mhm.
So therefore they did not need to go to the base.
And
You
they had no need for those realms at all.
They had no need for those realms.
So they didn't experience duality, how we experience it?
Yeah, they did.
But not how we
But
experience.
but they didn't have to go to the solids and water. Because they wasn't water-based individuals. The way we're water-based individuals. You know?
Mhm.
So there was no need for that. So they just dealt with sound, air, and fire. All right?
So they didn't. All those realms are always there, or
Mhm.
those levels are always there. Just for that particular species, they didn't need the experience from those lower realms that we do.
No, you don't remember the class totally, do you? The heart chakra, I don't want to go here because it's confusing people. The heart chakra, the solar plexus chakra, right? Where's the heart? This is the heart. The solar plexus chakra
Sex in the base
and the sex and the base
are extensions
are extensions of what?
the heart.
Of the heart. All of that is in the heart. All of that is in the heart. They cannot function without the heart. Don't you know that? Study the organs.
Mm-hmm.
If the blood doesn't pump, if the air doesn't run, guess what?
They die.
The food that you take in can't be assimilated by blood and air or oxygen, right? It can't be assimilated. The circulation point that the heart brings about, and the blood cannot be read without oxygen.
Even the shape of the body tells you, because that whole
Yeah.
region is a cavity.
It's a cavity, yeah.
And if you didn't need to eat, you wouldn't need anything below the heart.
That's right. And then the Muladhara chakra resembles what? It resembles the head. Because why? This is a bony structure, right? That's the biggest bony structure in the body next to the head.
Yes, the pelvis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So consciousness, the man's consciousness is always because of the solid state that we're in. Because of the solid state that we're in, man consciousness reside in that protective bony region, which is sex and base of the spine and brain, which is the command center. So, and it just shows the way our body is built. And and these are the things that, these are the basics of Tantra Yoga. If you don't understand this, you cannot understand none of the yogas.
Is the skull a fusion of 4 bones? Is it 4?
I don't know if it's 4 bones. I can't remember.
I think so.
It is?
I mean, I know the pelvis is.
Don't count the jaw.
Not the jaw.
No, the jaw, I can't count the jaw, but the jaw moves.
Montana might be 5. But that's that's one of the basic things that they tell you in the beginning of Tantra Yoga. The bony region is the Tavic, is the pelvic region, and that's where consciousness reside. And then also the command center is protected with the bony region as well, right? And what else? Sushumna. Sushumna is within what?
The spine.
And that's a bony region that carries it from from the tailbone back up to the Christ center. Right? So it's always wrapped in that. And that's the beginning. The skeletal system is the beginning of yoga. You know, if you go back to the teachings, of even Dr. King, he mentioned that. And of course, he tell you to refer back to serpent power.
This might be an out there question, but if I'm looking at the numbers for each petal, or each chakra, numerologically, do those numbers mean something?
I'm sure they do. That's going to a whole nother thing.
You mean like why does the base have 4
Yeah, like,
and not 6 type of thing?
no, I mean like the base is 4. Like you were saying how just like now I was talking about the head and the base. I was saying, okay, 2 at the head, double that vibration is a 4. And like the solar plexus is a 1, the heart is a 3, the throat is a 7. So I was wondering if those.
Yeah, it means something. It means something. But that's a whole nother subject. We can talk about that for a whole hour. All right. Okay, there's any other questions?
I'll save it for next class.
No other questions, then we'll close out. Close out with a prayer.